Hey everybody, it's Water6Cs here. Today I'm going to be doing something a little different from the normal content that I do. Um, Me and a couple of my friends are actually doing a draft league. Me and eight of my friends, eight, no, seven. I can count. I counted myself. The eight of us are doing a Pokemon draft league for Sword and Shield. The rules are simple. You three from OU, three from UU, three from RU, three from NUPU. No Dynamaxing, no Gigantamaxing. That's the whole deal. Just standard OU format with clauses. Um, and we all planned on just doing the draft league together. We've been trying to do something like this for a while, and I really wanted to do this. We never really managed to do it until now. So, I'm just gonna do a little fun thing. So once this is all over, I can look over my battles and see how I did this season and commentate over just the games and my thought process and the draft league and all of that. So to give you guys a quick run up, my draft picks were pretty solid. I got Dragapult. I would have taken Clefable round one, but Josh took Clefable literally right before me. He got first pick and then I got second pick, and that was the most frustrating thing I've ever had to experience in my entire life. And I knew it. I knew in my heart of hearts that he was going to take Clef, and I was so upset. It's fine though. I literally went into the draft league saying, yeah, I'm not going to use Dragapult, and then he took Clefable, and I'm like, all right, I'm going to use Dragapult. So he drafted Clef, and I took Clef. Or I would have taken Clef, but I took Dragapult instead. And then I also got Slowbro, and in my round 3 I got Zorora. Nobody took Zorora, which I was pretty excited about. I didn't actually think I was going to end up using it that much because I'm not super familiar with Zorora, but I wanted to get outside of my comfort zone, and I ended up having a lot of fun using it. And it just slaps. It's a great mon. And then my UU picks were really good too for me. I would have taken a couple other things. If we go here, we can see that this is the general draft. We're going to get pictures here eventually. But in UU, right, I would have liked Incineroar, but once again, Josh just sniped it right before me, and it's like the most upsetting thing. I also would have liked Gudra too, but he also sniped that from me. Like, he sniped all of my picks. Not really all of my picks, just Clef, Incin, and Gudra. But I would have liked all three of them. You're going to see in a minute that it didn't really matter, because my draft is still fire anyways. But it was generally very upsetting to just see all of my good picks just sniped like that. I was very distraught. So I ended up drafting Grimmsnarl first. I would have drafted Grimmsnarl first regardless. But I would have liked Incineroar over like Cloyster, right? Grimmsnarl is great. And then I got Skarmory and Cloyster. And my reasoning for all these mons are pretty simple. They're just great. Dragapult's A tier sweeper, S tier sweeper. Slowbro with teleport is just like the greatest wall of all time, and it's great for, just being that wall. Zorora is a fantastic, its speed tier is uncontested. And then Grimmsnarl's great. Grimmsnarl's great because it can either be, a utility mon, or it can be a offensive mon. There are a lot of things you can do with Grimmsnarl. I've been playing around with Choice Band Grimmsnarl on ladder, which is totally not good, by the way. It's pretty garbage, but it's really fun. It's like Electro Ball Cinderace garbage. And then I took Skarmory because I didn't have any hazards or hazard control at this point. And then Cloyster it's just a great sweeper that I can click buttons with. And then my lower tier drafts were pretty good. I got Zard, and I drafted Zard before Torkoal specifically so I could try to get Torkoal, and I did end up getting Torkoal. I realized that a lot of people had Weather and I didn't, and someone drafted a pretty beefy sand team. Will drafted a pretty beefy sand core for the most part. He has Core of Hippo, Mandibuzz, T-Tar, and to an extent Lucario, not really, but his sand core is solid enough that I don't want to deal with it. I know Rowan drafted Drill just so Will couldn't, but even if you look at Tyranitar, right, it's just sand is probably the best weather condition for rock and ground types, just for that special defense boost, and steel types. Is it all those types? I don't know. All I know is he's got a semi strong sand core that's definitely hindered by the fact that he doesn't have drill, but like it's still good enough that people started drafting as soon as he picked up Hippo. People started picking up other weather controllers. So that was how that ended up going. Like I know Justin drafted Polytoad literally specifically for that reason, just because here it is, he has Polytoad specifically so he didn't have to get cooked by weather. But I digress. And yeah, the rest of my draft is simple. I got Corsola Galar. I got Golurk because I didn't have a ground type. It's also really strong. Then I wanted to use this mon for a while. I'm pretty excited to get to use it when I get the chance. I drafted Clefairy because I didn't have Clefable and I was so distraught. And then my last draft was Hitmontop, and I think this is probably my best draft of the entire thing. So with my draft, the quick analyzation out of the way, I'll go ahead and get into my team for the week. My round one was against, as it would be, it was against Josh. So Josh was, in my opinion, probably the scariest person for me to play round one, just because we ladder a lot together, so we know each other's habits. But more than anything, it's just a battle of team building versus team piloting. I've always been really good at building teams, but not so much as at playing them out, whereas Josh has always been really strong with playing with what he has in teams, whereas he's been a little weaker on the team building side. You'll see that for this week it probably wasn't really the case. His team was, I would say, pretty solid. It's probably about what I would have brought to bring against my team. But we usually ladder together because it's more fun that way. I make a good team and he pilots it to wherever we're doing, right? He'll pilot it up the ladder. So it was fated to happen at some point, and week one for it to kick off this way was great. So right off the bat, I was most scared of his Clef, and his Incineroar. I literally asked him not to bring Incineroar. I DM'd him. I said, "Can you not bring Incineroar?" And he of course he brought it. He knew pretty well, probably looking at my draft, that Incin beats most of my mons up pretty hard. The only answer I have for it is Slowbro, and you'll see it just doesn't do nearly enough. And I was also scared of Goodra. I thought he was going to bring Clef, Incin, Milotic, Goodra. I thought maybe the Quagsire, but that was about it. The Quagsire is a meme pick. I only had a solid read on 4 in my mind, and he didn't even end up bringing the Goodra. But I wanted to cover for as much as possible. So I started with fully bulky Slowbro because it's the only answer I have for the Incin. Just running counter, Scald, Slack Off, Teleport so I can get out with Rocky Helmet and Regenerator. It served its purpose really well, and it did a huge number to his team. As for the rest of his team loses pretty hard to Zorora. His draft is really strong, but most of what he would probably want to bring against me gets beat up by Zorora pretty hard. Like the Clef versus Zorora, Clef will lose the 1v1. If he brought Magnezone, which he did, I would beat it up with Zorora. Zorora is just an incredible mon. And it checks the Milotic. I had to bring it, especially for the Milotic, because I figured he was going to have to bring it because I have Dragapult and I have Cloyster. And he can't really justify not bringing Milotic when I have sweepers like that. So I brought my Zorora. I slapped Grass Knot on it just in case he brought the Quagsire. I thought he might. He didn't, obviously. But I just wanted to have something to check it if he did bring a ground type. And that way I could read into the switch off of a Plasma Fist. I brought my Cloyster just because I wanted to be able to click a button. My strategy going into it was I wanted to be able to eliminate the threats to my Cloyster. I wanted to be able to kill off the Incin and I wanted to kill off Incin and Milotic before they got the chance to really pressure my Cloyster, because my Cloyster loses to those. My Cloyster, he loses to Magnezone to an extent too, but or she loses to Magnezone too. But I was convinced that I wasn't even entirely certain he was going to bring it. He made the right call. He actually read my Skarmory bring in. I was going to bring Skarmory. Yeah, he kind of figured that was my go-to. So he kind of caught me there. But I planned for that more or less. My set was standard, just Shell Smash, Icicle Spear, Rock Blast, Liquidation with Skill Link, just so I could, and King's Rock, so I could try cheese him out if I needed to. This is where it really got relevant. I brought the max special defense wall Hitmontop, which was really relevant. If I was max attack, I probably would have done a lot more to him in the grand scheme of things. But I wanted to be able to take a hit from Clef if I had to come in on it. And I believe I took a hit from it. I'm not entirely certain. I haven't checked the replay in a minute, but I wanted to be able to live in time to check him with a Toxic. Cause my biggest fear for his Clef was that it was unaware. Cause it could either be unaware or Magic Guard. And I thought he might run unaware because I have Cloyster. And Dragapult just set up mons that are so strong on it. So I wanted to be able to check if he was unaware, and this was important just for my mental. And I went for Technician boosted triple Axle. This move's insane, by the way. This is objectively the best move in the entire game. I've never seen a more powerful move on a more powerful mon. Hitmontop really pulled the weight here. I put triple Axle for the Gudra. You'll see I didn't end up hitting Gudra, but I hit something significantly more important. And then I had Rapid Spear and Mach Punch for just general control. Rapid Spin for hazard control, and then Mach Punch just to try and check Magnezone if he brought it. Although you'll see I planned for Magnezone just in case. I didn't want him to bring Magnezone, but I planned for it with my Skarmory set here, which is Max Fizz Def, Body Press, Roosts, Iron Head, Sub. Sub was pretty important as well. I wanted to be able to sit behind a Sub I wanted to be able to read a switch into Magnezone and then set up a Sub so I could hit at least one Body Press and get it to the point where, like, basically anything could kill the Magnezone. And it's a lot of damage just to get off on it. So being able to handle Magnezone is pretty relevant for this matchup, because he was just going to trap me in, and he was Magnet Pull. And then I was pretty confident with my core 5. I even joked about it with Justin that maybe I didn't even need to bring a 6th. Obviously I'm bringing a 6th. I just brought Colberberry, Hex, Thunderwave, Draco, U-Turn, Dragapult just as a utility mon. I never got the chance to, use this set on ladder. I've mainly just been I used like Dance Pult or Band Pult or Specs Pult, like just general sweeper Pults. So I haven't used Utility Pult, and I wanted to give it a little love. So I ended up doing that and taking it. So you can see right here. I should probably remove this. I'll just block. Yeah, I should. You know what? I won the week one. I'll probably not put the fact that I won in the title for the next time, but. We'll hop right into the replay here, and I'll go ahead and I'll talk about my mental. So let me switch sides here. So you can see he brought basically everything I was scared of. He brought the Milotic, he brought the Incin, he brought the Clef, and he brought Magnezone. I wasn't scared of Magnezone per se, as I was saying before, but like it's a threat. Because it checks this. The reason I'm not necessarily scared of Magnezone is because I had Zorora with Volt Absorb, so it's not that big of a deal. He actually brought the Chinchino, and we were talking, and it's actually because he was afraid I was going to bring Sun, because I drafted the Mini Sun Core. He was pretty scared of the Sun Core, which I was really uncomfortable bringing, because I thought he was going to bring. I thought if I brought the Sun Core, he was going to bring Vileplume with Chlorophyll, and he did. He did bring Chlorophyll Vileplume. He thought he was Effect Sport. The only mon that it was relevant on was my Hitmontop, and I was poisoned already anyways, so it didn't matter in the long run. But it was definitely something that shook me. It walls out my Zorora just hard, but I wasn't super concerned with it. So you'll see he led his Magnezone, and I kind of believed that he would read the Magnezone, so I led my Zorora. He doubles right into Vileplume immediately, and I'm just trying to take out this Magnezone if I can, because I wanted to get it out. knowing this, I'm going to go right into my Skarmory because I wanted to see if he was going to Toxic my Zorora. He actually goes for his Strength Stab, which is fine. Here, I think he's going to probably go into the Magnezone, so I actually opt to set up a Substitute. And this is really, really pivotal right here. Because he went into Instant, I can switch out and preserve my Skarm for later. But the most important thing I do right here is I actually click Roost, and that puts me back in Sturdy, which means I can take a hit from the Magnezone if he Specs, or even if he's Scarf. I think it might just kill Skarmory because it just dies. So he breaks my sub, but I'm at full, so I can pull out right into my Slowbro. Even if he reads, he's not going to kill my Slowbro in one hit, and he does read the switch pretty well, knocking me off. But at this point, I figure he's probably going to go into the Magnezone because why would you stay in? I think it was a roll to kill me, but I was going to switch regardless. So I double into nothing. I slack off here. That's right. That's safe. And then I double into my Hitmontop, which is specially defensive. He misses a Toxic here. It doesn't matter too much in the grand scheme of things, but it does suck. He's Scarfed for the record as well, so he's Scarfed into Toxic. He doesn't want to stay in, so he switches out. He goes right into his Vileplume, and I go ahead and Mach Punch because I want to try and kill this. This is where Triple Axle's really irrelevant. He goes to set up Leech Seed. I go ahead and Triple Axle him. I miss the third hit. I think the third hit would have killed him. It doesn't matter. It still does half off of 2 hits. And he heals up a lot, but I just go ahead and I kill him with the Triple Axle here, and I was pretty happy about this. I think he was going to try and Strength Sap me. If he had gone right into the Milotic, it would have been a little easier. And you'll see here he was a little confused by the phrasing of Triple Axle on the showdown, so it should have just stated, but I digress. So he goes into Clefable, and this is kind of the situation I want to be in. I'm willing to sack my Hitmontop to this thing in order to determine whether or not he's unaware, so I can get my Cloyster Sweep off. So he goes, I go for Toxic. He actually goes for the safe Toxic as well, which I think is a pretty relevant, I think is a pretty good choice. Oh wait, it didn't matter. I wasn't Toxic by the time he was on his Vileplume. So if he was Effect Spore, he actually probably could have got me really well, actually. So he, yeah, so we both trade Toxics here, and I see that he's Magic Guard. Which is pretty good, because now I can just pull out and go into my Skarmory, and I know he's gonna teleport here and send in the Magnezone, which sucks a lot, because I'm gonna lose my Skarm here. He actually makes the aggressive play and goes for Thunderbolt instead of Volt Switch, and I go ahead and I get my Body Press off, and I get all the damage I need on his Magnezone, though, so that's all that mattered. Getting the damage on the Magnezone mattered a lot, because I can go right into my my Hitmontop and go for the same Mach Punch to try and just clean up that Magnezone, which is still a big threat to my Slowbro and to my my Cloyster. I'm just gonna try and do as much damage as possible to the Clef, and you can see here I take the Moonblast pretty well. And he switches out into the Milotic, wanting to preserve his Clef a little longer. I only do like 30 damage in total over the course of 2 turns here. He's actually Flame Orb Marvel Scale to take the hit from Zorora. And he goes for the Toxic reading the switch. I'm just ready to sack my Hitmontop at this point because I don't necessarily need it anymore. It checks his it checks his Chinchino and it checks his Magnezone, but I have other things that can check them. So I go right into my Zorora and I get Toxic, and that's fine because I basically killed his Milotic at this time. So his Milotic dying is pretty relevant because it lets us sweep with Cloyster pretty efficiently now, because I Rock Blast to catch the Instant. I'm going to go right into my Slowbro. He goes for the Fake Out, and he doubles into the Clefairy, and I go ahead and just go for the safe Scald, and I double back into my my Zorora, and he goes for Toxic. I don't think it mattered too much because I would live a Moonblast and Plasma Fist kills, which is great. And then he goes back into the Instant, and of course I'm going to double right back into my Slowbro immediately. And Knock does a big chunk to my Slowbro, but not enough that it matters. I'm going to just teleport out because I figure he's probably going to want to preserve his Instant rather than... Because he knows I run counter. Like, he's aware. So he probably wanted to kind of deal with it. So I read the switch into the Magnezone, and I teleport out back into my Zorora. And at this point, he just has to sack this, because he can't let anything else just take a close combat, because his Instant doesn't want to take a close combat, and his Chinchino doesn't want to take a close combat. So I preserve my Zorora. It's actually pretty relevant that I do that, In a minute, you'll see. I go right into my Slowbro, and I just go ahead and I Scald him. And I get the burn on his Chinchino, and it's really unfortunate. It doesn't matter too much because he actually didn't end up having Bullet Seed. But Tail Slap would have done a little bit more to us. Although I think I still probably would have healed the full off of Regenerator. And I went for counter there, and it didn't actually do anything. But yeah, like you can see, I just slack off anyways and let him die out. And then I would have been fine against his Chinchino. And at this point in time, I've pretty much got the game wrapped up. I didn't even get to use my Cloyster or my my Dragapult. I just used my 4. And I stay in because I just want to kind of deal with it. I'm going to Scald him for the safety. But you can see here, I get 2-hit KO'd by knockoff, and I didn't think about countering. I should have countered here, but I didn't think. I thought I could kill him off with Scald. I didn't think it would be a 2-hit KO. So I actually had to pull my Slowbro into my my Zorora and sack, so I could come back out at enough HP to take a knockoff, and then I could kill him with the counter. And that was it. That was a GG. It was a close one. Admittedly, I never got to use Cloyster or my Dragapult, but I still had a lot of fun. And for my week 1, you know, there was no one else I would have rather played but my my boy Josh. So I don't know, if you like this content, you can. I mean, I'm gonna post all of it just for my friends to look at. But you can see, you know, it's all right. We got a 3-0 victory, and our week 1 was a dub for us. Next week, I'm playing against Will, who has the semi Sandcore, and we'll see what he can do. So without, yeah, that's all I basically got for you guys. Thanks, and bye bye.